Okay, Alexander, we need to revisit Wirecard, the story of Wirecard. Now, we did a video on this, I think about 2 weeks ago, on this fintech, this financial tech company that was a shining star, rising star in Germany, and ended up being a complete fraud, a type of Ponzi scheme type of company. And they were cooking their books, falsifying their balance sheet, stealing money. I don't know another word to put it.
In bed with organized crime groups, some of the Russian mafia, Italian mafia.
Alexander, get into this, because we have they're looting money. They have business partners who supposedly are presumed dead, but they're not, and they're transferring money to remote places in Asia, and the police are looking for them. We have connections to the OPCW.
Yes,
and fake reports coming out of the OPCW. This story is absolutely bonkers.
Yes, I mean it's getting more and more bizarre all the time. Now, bear in mind, this is supposed to be, as Alex said, a fintech companies, finance tech. I mean, it's supposed to be, the great rising star that was going to create Germany's big tech company, and instead we are looking at not just a fraudulent Ponzi scheme. I mean, those are to some extent easy to understand. We are looking at something infinitely stranger. I mean, first of all, it seems to have been very big in the gambling business. Well, it partly originated in gambling, but it turns out that this isn't just gambling. It was very weird laundering of money from all kinds of different places. As they were laundering money for all kinds of organized crime groups around the world. The Italian mafia seems to have been particularly heavily involved. Russian mafia too, by the way. There's now information that on the eve of its Wirecard's announced insolvency, it was lending, in other words, transferring money on a simply prodigious level. And we're talking about, tens of billions to various affiliated companies, mainly in the Far East. Except, of course, it turns out that these companies, nobody seems to know exactly who the owner of these companies actually is. There's one which is traced back to a Swiss holding group, but the Swiss holding group say that, we're not actually the owner, we just hold it on behalf of somebody else. Well, of course, we can't say who that someone else is. So it's very weird. Then we have one of its major executives, Christopher Bauer, who's supposed to have died in Manila, except it turns out he hasn't died in Manila, but exactly what he's up to, who knows. And the most bizarre story of all concerns Wirecard's chief operating officer, its COO, who is a man called Jan Marsalek. Now, he's Austrian, very strange individual from all accounts. He seems to have been very, very keen, apart from other things, on involving himself in Libya and in the Libyan war, and was arranging for mercenaries, mainly from Russia, to be sent to Libya. Not exactly clear for what purpose. But then there was the most bizarre aspect of all, which is that he turned up in London in 2018. This is Mr. Marsalek, and he had in his possession 4 documents, which were 4 ultra highly classified OPCW documents, which were the documents which the OPCW sets out its analysis of the chemical that was used in the Salisbury chemical attacks against the Skripals. Now, there's lots of conflicting stories about what are in those documents. I've seen one version, which is in the Financial Times, in which it says that it sets out the chemical formula for a Novichok. I've seen other stories which say that it doesn't, it proves that it wasn't Novichok. I haven't read these reports, which, as I said, are classified. And even if I did, I'm not a chemist, so I'm not going to try and speculate about that. But it is extraordinary that this man, Marsalek, has actually had these documents in his possession. How did he get them? And then he has disappeared. apparently has vanished off the face of the earth, and no one knows where he is. There's speculation he might be in Russia, and the speculation, by the way, that he might actually be a Russian intelligence asset, though he's in his mid-30s apparently, so it all seems very odd. But wherever he is, he's just vanished. Now, this is extraordinary. And the weirdest thing about this whole story is that this, monster of a company, I mean, it isn't even a company, I don't quite know how to describe it precisely, was able to go on functioning, doing all of these bizarre things, with all these bizarre people running it, people who, are reported dead one day, turn up alive next day, one person, another person who goes around touting OPCW documents and then it disappears, company that's in bed with, mafiosos and all that kind of thing. This company, survived and grew despite lots of people saying that it was fundamentally and corrupt and deeply flawed, and it did so because it got the critical backing of the German authorities. So that's the most bizarre thing of all about all of this. Now, nothing about Wirecard makes any kind of sense. I said at the beginning when this story first broke that Germany is extremely worried about the fact that it doesn't have any big name tech companies, which is true. And undoubtedly that helped Wirecard to some extent. But what is happening, what has been revealed about Wirecard now is even more extraordinary than I could ever have imagined. And it's quite clear that we're not dealing with a company in any shape or form, a business, I should say, in any shape or form. It's a Ponzi scheme, of course. It's a fraud, definitely. But it also looks like a mix of a criminal network and some kind of intelligence operation.
I was just about to say the same thing. I mean, Wirecard was to put it simply, was a payment processor.
Yeah.
They were going to be a big payment processor. They were supposedly acting as a big payment processor.
Yeah.
And there you can understand, okay, Ponzi scheme, okay, I can see a payment processor running a Ponzi scheme, fine. Cooking the books, fine. Cleaning money for oligarchs and for mafiosos, Italian, Russian, wherever they are in the world, fine. I can see a payment processor doing that as well and them getting busted. But the OPCW story and how this guy, Marsalek, got the OPCW classified documents, there you just sit there and you scratch your head and you say, okay, so then not only is this a dirty company cooking the books and laundering money for criminals, but they have to be connected to some intelligence agency. How else could they have gotten those documents?
Exactly.
Maybe he went rogue. Maybe he went rogue, Alexander.
Well, maybe he
went to sell them to the UK government in order to get protection. I don't know.
But we have no answers to these because this individual has mysteriously disappeared. And of course, bear in mind, he's also involved in Libya in some fashion. I mean, he seems to have been assisting or at least involving himself in supporting General Haftar's, forces in Libya in some mysterious way. Again, very odd and very unexplained and very strange. Now, as I said, the Financial Times, which has done most of the reporting, is speculating that he might have been connected to Russian intelligence and that this might have been to some extent a Russian intelligence front. Well, that's possible, but all I will say is if it was, my goodness, I mean, what a front. I mean, growing in exponential fashion. It seems amazing. I mean, and, with the, German regulators giving it the clean bill of health all the time, it seems even more extraordinary. I mean, but there is some thread that links links everything up and explains everything. And I can't pretend that I can see what it is, but certainly this is an extraordinary story, and maybe some of the answers lie in Russia, but a great deal of them, it seems to me, lie in Germany. Because how was it able to operate in Germany and Austria to the extent that it did for so many years, build itself up to this enormous size, do all these extraordinary and bizarre things, and be repeatedly given the clean bill of health. I mean, that seems so strange. I can't explain it straightforwardly. Even a desire to have a German tech company doesn't satisfactorily explain it to me.
Yeah, the only thing I can think of is they were paying bribes to everybody.
Well,
it was corrupt. But once again, how all of that stuff, I can see it. My mind can wrap around it. Even the Libya thing, I can wrap around a payment processor doing dirty work and laundering money for Libyan warlords. I can see that too, I guess. But how do you get classified OPCW documents? What does a fintech company have to do with the scribbles in the OPCW?
Exactly. Well, I mean, not only does he get them, not only was he able to get hold of these documents, but he comes to London and he shows them around. He goes out.
Make a deal, isn't he?
And well, exactly, some kind of a deal, which is, by the way, that argues against him being. I mean, that does argue for him being a rogue operator, actually. Because it seems to me a secret agent, if that's what he was, wouldn't be publicizing the fact in quite that way. But apparently he showed these documents to lots of people. And, we've been reading information. Alex and I should tell our viewers, had been reading information about some of the contents of these documents for some time. We weren't quite sure what to make of this story. And we had no idea that they originated from Wirecard. I mean, this makes it so bizarre. But so it turns out they did. So now, can I just say about bribery, though? I know that there is this conception, which many people have, that, Germany is this incredibly honest, straight place, that corruption is inconceivable there. At an everyday level, that's certainly true. I mean, if you go to Germany, you meet people. German people basically are not corrupt. But at the very top, corruption, I'm afraid, is very widespread, as it is in many countries. So the fact that he paid bribes in Germany and Austria, it would not be extraordinary. But on this scale, and for so long, and nobody noticing, nobody saying anything, as I said, if this scandal, it seems to me, is huge. And I think the Germans do need to explain things rather more clearly. And we need some explanations also. What's happened to all of these people? I mean, people turning up dead and then turning up alive from one day to the next is bizarre enough already.
They're spies. They've been called home. And the one guy, I think, was a double agent. I don't know. But all these executives seem to have been intel agents, and I guess they've been disappeared.
Well, indeed. I mean, I have to say, it does look like that. And can I just say, I mean, there's the story of them making all these transfers of money to all these mysterious companies in the Far East. That does look as if they're transferring money to again, that would be consistent in some ways, it seems to me, with an intelligence operation, which is that you close one operation down, then you transfer whatever assets are left out of the company that's broken up to other companies which the same intelligence organization controls, and maybe it is calling its agents in. And I have to say that if that is what's happened, then that would suggest Russia to me. I mean, that seems to be the obvious country with the obvious interests. Though in that case, I would say that Marsalek, Mr. Marsalek, clearly did go rogue by going to London and showing off all these documents in that fashion. And if he is in Russia, I'm sure he's not finding it very comfortable there.
Sure, they're not very pleased with him.
No.
We'll try to follow this.
We will try to follow this. I mean, everything that we said about, all the conclusions we've given are very provisional indeed. I mean, they couldn't be otherwise, given how little is known. We're just pointing out how bizarre this story has become. And as Alex rightly said, it's the OPCW thing that is completely extraordinary. I mean, that is off the scale. I mean, that is so weird. It's difficult to understand. I would just add one thing. It's interesting. This man is actually Austrian. And if you spend time in Vienna, I mean, Vienna is a nest of spies. There's spies there from every conceivable country. It was so during the Cold War, and it is so still. So, it's that would not be completely surprising. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. Alexander Mercurs, Editor-in-Chief of Duran. Thank you very much, guys. If you like this video, click on the subscribe. Hit that like, share the video, drop us a comment as well down below. Also go to PayPal, Patreon, and Subscribe Star. Send us a donation. We are a small channel, and we are trying to report some real news and trying to untangle very weird and bizarre stories like this one. And also go to the Duran shop, pick up some merchandise. We have new shirts, new magic mugs. We have new magic hats as well. I don't call them magic hats because when you wear those magic hats, when you wear that hat, I don't know, I just think you become geopolitically smarter. I think. I don't know.
Absolutely. I mean, your brain activity becomes incredibly stimulated, and things that look mysterious and difficult to understand become immediately clear. I was saying about Wirecard and the fact that there were lots of things I didn't understand. I haven't got one of these hats. I think I should, because that will no doubt help me to understand it better.
Brand new. They're brand new.
Brand new, exactly. So I've seen them. I know of them, but I haven't yet got one. Though I will very soon, believe me. And as I said, we've got all our amazing mugs, the best mugs in the world, as they were, and they've just got better. This is Britain and the United States, the two English-speaking countries, but you will find lots of others. These are two little ones. We got them in smaller sizes now, and these are Russia and Greece. So you can see these are smaller. So there's Russia. No, that's Britain and Greece. So you can see that Britain is significantly bigger. And we've also got enameled mugs. And if you want a mug with your country's flag on it, and you can't find it, wait a little while, because Alex is expanding the mugs all the time, so it's likely it's coming. But if it still isn't there in a short time, well, drop us a line and we'll see what we can do for you. And we've got amazing shirts where you can see I'm wearing one with the flag of Great Britain, the United Kingdom of Great Britain, of which I'm a proud citizen. Immensely comfortable shirt. Alex has got another one of our new shirts with the flag of the Russian Federation. We're not part of any Cold War on this channel. And you will find lots of other great shirts. And again, if you want your country's flag, just drop us a line if you don't see it. And we also have other great things in our shop, including an ever-expanding gallery of ebooks and these wonderful hats that Alex was talking about. And we are a very small channel. You see us, every day. We see it's the same small group of people who are doing them. It's just us. So support us. Give us the help that we need to go on doing this. It's fun for us, but it's also very, very hard work. And at the same time, you'll be the owner of all of these great things. So Alex will tell you how to come to our shop and how you can own these great things and support our channel.
Just go to theduranshop.com. You'll find a link underneath this video in the description box. Alexander Mercurs. Until next time, everybody, take care.